These men and women in white robes are on a pilgrimage. The Shikoku Pilgrimage. It involves visiting 88 Buddhist temples in all 4 prefectures of Shikoku Island. The entire route is 1,200 kilometers long and takes about 50 days to complete on foot. The pilgrims visit places associated with Kukai, a 9th century high priest. The pilgrimage was originally made only by monks, but in the 17th century the practice began to spread among the common people. Today, many middle-aged and elderly people undertake the pilgrimage as a way of reflecting on their lives. And many young men and women do it to find out more about themselves. The people of Shikoku welcome these pilgrims with open arms, and meeting new people is one of the attractions of the pilgrimage. On this edition of Begin Japanology, our theme is the Shikoku Pilgrimage. We'll meet the pilgrims themselves and the local people who welcome them. Along the way, we'll see traditional expressions of religious faith and examine the challenges of modern life.
Hello and welcome to Begin Japanology. I'm Peter Barakan. The word pilgrimage conjures up images of perhaps Santiago de Compostela in Spain for Christians, Jerusalem for Jews, or the Hajj for Muslims. But for Buddhists in Japan, the pilgrimage that takes in 88 temples on the island of Shikoku is perhaps the best known. And right behind me here is Ryozenji, which is a temple in the eastern part of Tokushima Prefecture and is the starting point of this pilgrimage. Excuse me, konnichiwa. Do you have a particular purpose for going on the pilgrimage?
I turned 65, officially a senior citizen. So I wanted to reflect on my life up to this point and really think about how to live my life from now on.
Good morning. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Have you all come together?
Yes.
And where are you from?
Australia.
And are you going to do the whole course of the 88 temples?
We're going to go as far as 24 in the south, right down the very southern tip.
Okay.
That will exhaust us.
I'm sure it will. You're going to walk all the way?
Yes. Yes.
It's early spring now and the weather's just starting to warm up. You can see the cherry blossoms as well. It's really ideal weather for the pilgrimage, and this is, in fact, the start of the peak season for it. Okay, now let's take a look at what the Shikoku Pilgrimage is all about.
The Shikoku Pilgrimage takes place across Shikoku, the smallest of Japan's 4 main islands. It takes pilgrims to 88 Buddhist temples in Tokushima, Kochi, Ehime and Kagawa prefectures. The pilgrimage can be traced to High Priest Kukai, posthumously known as Kobo Daishi. 12 centuries ago, Kukai trekked across Shikoku. He immersed himself in ascetic spirituality and experienced a cosmic revelation. He went on to become the founder of esoteric Buddhism in Japan. The Shikoku pilgrimage follows in the footsteps of Kukai's spiritual quest. It covers 1,200 kilometers, and to walk the entire route takes about 50 days. The pilgrimage has a distinctive circular route. Some pilgrims, having completed the route, will start again and go around a second time. When pilgrims arrive at a temple, they press their hands together in prayer and chant a sutra. Pilgrims make all sorts of prayers. They pray for their ancestors, for their families, or for themselves. Each of the 88 temples has its own sacred chant. Each of these chants details the blessings or benefits that the temple confers. They all use the syllable pattern of a waka poem, 5-7-5-7-7. As proof of their pilgrimage, people carry special notebooks and get a red stamp at each temple. The notebook serves as a lifelong talisman and is placed in the pilgrim's coffin at death. The pilgrimage route proceeds clockwise through 4 prefectures. The first section in Tokushima Prefecture is called the Path of Awakening Faith. It signifies the decision to embark on a spiritual journey. And the first temple is Ryozenji. Here people pray that they will complete the 88 temple circuit and have their wishes granted. The first difficult spot is a steep 13-kilometer trail between temple number 11 and temple number 12. It's nicknamed the Pilgrim's Downfall. Having ascended the steep trail, pilgrims reach Shosanji, the 12th temple, at an elevation of 800 meters. The next section of the pilgrimage, located in Kochi Prefecture, is called the Path of Religious Discipline. It's a long coastal route that includes many ups and downs. At the tip of Cape Muroto is Temple 24, Hotsumisakiji. And near this temple along the coast is Mikurodo Cave. Long ago, Kukai is said to have meditated here until he achieved enlightenment. Looking out from the cave, all that can be seen is sea and sky. And that is the origin of the name, Kukai. Ku is the sky, and Kai, the ocean. Next comes the Ehime Prefecture section of the pilgrimage, called the Path of Enlightenment. Wedged between massive rock formations on a mountainside is Temple 45, the otherworldly Iwayaji. The entire mountain has long been considered an incarnation of Fudo Myo-o, a Buddhist deity. This temple harks back to the days of mountain worship. Near Temple 51, Ishiteji, is a mineral hot spring resort called Dogo Onsen. Many pilgrims use these steaming waters to ease their fatigue. The final section of the pilgrimage, which goes through Kagawa Prefecture, is called the Path of Nirvana. Temple 75, Zensuji, was built at Kukai's birthplace. Pilgrims here are welcomed by a statue of Kukai as a young boy. Temple 88, the last on the pilgrimage route, is Okuboji. The Japanese word for visiting all 88 temples is Kechigan, which means wish fulfilled. Pilgrims return to their everyday life, feeling a sense of accomplishment.
Well, I've got all the stuff, so at least I look like a pilgrim, but I have absolutely no clue where to go, what to do, or anything, which is why I have the services today of Matsumoto-san, who is an accredited guide who assists first-time pilgrims. Thank you very much for being with us today.
My pleasure. This white robe represents a funeral shroud. Centuries ago, pilgrims undertook the journey at the risk of their lives, and they wore this in case they did indeed die. The walking stick is considered an incarnation of Kukai, and here it says, two going together. It means you and Kukai are making a pilgrimage together. This stole is actually the most important item, and you must wear it whenever you go in a temple to worship. It's an expression of respect. Now you make an offering of a candle. You light the candle using this flame over here, and then place the candle there. It serves as a beacon for Buddhist deities to gather here. Next, an offering of incense. To chant a sutra well, first you need to cleanse your body, mouth, and mind. So you burn 3 sticks of incense to cleanse these 3 things.
That's symbolic of that, I see.
漢字財宝左教人般若波羅蜜多時証券豪運海空道一切空役者利子式部異空空不意識あてぎゃてあらぎゃてあらそうぎゃておちそわか般若心経
So, now we're done here. You did well.
Thank you very much. That was hard.
Yes, I'm sure it wasn't easy.
But you have 88 chances to do it, yeah?
Ultimately, it'll become easy for you.
I hope. Thank you very much. Okay. So, I guess I'm off. I'll see you later.
Roughly 150,000 people make the Shikoku Pilgrimage each year. They travel by bus, by car, or on foot. Some do the whole circuit at one time, while some divide it up into multiple trips. These two women are doing part of the pilgrimage each weekend, by car. They're going at their own pace.
I suppose I just like temples for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just that I like soaking up the atmosphere.
It's estimated that 5,000 pilgrims per year complete the circuit on foot. Middle-aged and elderly people often embark on the pilgrimage at a milestone in their lives. This man set out to reflect on his life.
I turned 50 this year. I wanted to give some thought to the years I have left. So here I am.
These days, more and more young people are making the trek on foot. It's quite a challenge, but that's precisely the point.
The main reason I'm walking it is to grow as a person. I want to change. That's my aim.
In recent years, some pilgrims are blogging about their daily experiences. They say they receive encouraging comments every day.
At first, I enjoyed the time to myself to think, but it gets lonely walking the route. So this makes me appreciate human connections all the more.
A pilgrimage on foot was undertaken in the winter of 2008 by this man. Hiroyuki Konokawa was 37 at the time. He was laid off at work and decided to make the Shikoku pilgrimage as a journey of self-discovery. At Temple 58, Senryuji, Konokawa was given a free room for the night, and he had an unforgettable experience. Konokawa had spent the night in other temples during his pilgrimage, but sometimes he had to camp out.
Well, you chose a cold time of year.
That's just how the timing worked out. That's when the idea of doing the Shikoku pilgrimage happened to come to me. So here I am.
Konokawa strikes up a conversation with the head priest over a cup of tea. The priest's name is Kensho Oyamada. He offered the tea to Konokawa because he saw a somber look on his face.
You're still single?
Well, yeah.
Ah, so there's more to it then.
Oyamada is easy to talk to, so Konokawa is inclined to reveal his feelings.
I was always very sure of myself. So when I got laid off, it hurt. I wanted to come to terms with that, to accept things. That's the main reason I came here.
I like to point out that the white robe is supposed to be a funeral shroud. In modern terms, it's more like hitting the reset button. You're completely resetting your life. So I often tell men, forget about what your business card says. I think you should throw all that stuff away and leave it behind. Make this your turning point.
I see.
Konakawa ended up talking with Oyamada all night. The next morning, he rises early and takes part in morning worship. Oyamada's words from the previous night still echo in his mind. Konakawa is reluctant to leave, but eventually he gets going.
Thank you very much.
They wouldn't have met if he hadn't stopped by. The Shikoku Pilgrimage is filled with chance encounters like this.
It's very unusual for me to have a day with so much emotion in it. I think of it as fate, and I'm thankful for it.
Through the walking pilgrimage, Konakawa says he rediscovered humility. He walked on for 17 more days and completed the pilgrimage. He fulfilled his wish.
Well, I'm on the road now between temples 1 and 2, and I was told the most important thing is to just clear your mind of any unnecessary thoughts and give yourself up to your surroundings. And if you get lost, you don't need to worry, you can just ask anybody. People here are very aware of the pilgrimage, and you can really rely on the kindness of everybody. And of course there are signposts as well. This one tells us that it's 1 kilometer to Gokurakuji, which is the next temple along. Visiting the temples is of course very important, but equally important is the walk in between the temples. In fact, it's a kind of religious discipline in its own right. Let's take a look now at how this pilgrimage, originally walked by Kukai over 1,000 years ago, was passed down to us today.
Kukai attained enlightenment in Shikoku and went on to found esoteric Buddhism in Japan. He had many disciples, and those disciples had disciples of their own. Countless Buddhist monks, mainly from the Shingon sect that Kukai founded, trekked through the wilds of Shikoku, seeking to follow his example of religious discipline. In the 17th century, it started to become common for ordinary people to embark on the Shikoku pilgrimage. This trend was launched by a guidebook published in 1687. It was written by the monk Shinnen, and it taught the common people about the path that Kukai had walked on his spiritual journey. Japan was in the middle of a period of peace that would last more than 200 years altogether. Many people had the money and the leisure to undertake the journey. They traveled to honor the spirits of dead relatives. Other pilgrims were driven from their hometowns by poverty or sickness. They walked the circuit of temples until they died. After the Second World War, as Japan experienced rapid economic growth, bus tours were launched. People could visit all 88 temples in just 15 days. These tours were a huge hit with elderly people who would have been unable to make the long pilgrimage otherwise. In the 1970s, the roads on the route were improved, making it easier for buses and cars to use them. As a result, more and more people made the pilgrimage, and it became quite the thing to do. Then in the 1990s came a nationwide health craze. The new generation saw the appeal of a 50-day pilgrimage on foot. And today many foreign visitors interested in Japanese culture are trying out the pilgrimage.
I enjoy it very much, especially the temples are very beautiful and the sights are amazing, really very nice.
I think it's really, really important to try and keep this kind of culture alive.
A Shikoku pilgrimage in the footsteps of Kukai himself. In today's Japan, as more people turn away from the material and towards the spiritual, the journey is becoming ever more appealing.
And along the route there are places where a pilgrim can stop in for a rest or even something to eat and drink. Sounds like a marvellous idea, doesn't it? This is one of them. Konnichiwa. Osewa narimasu.
Thank you for stopping by. This is for you.
Thank you very much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. So you do this for everybody that comes in?
Yes, I do.
So these are all your friends and they all come here every day?
Yes, they come and help me out. Pilgrims who stop by tend to be nervous about the journey, but we try to cheer them up. And we like doing that very much.
Oh, you have like a diary? Oh, well, people who come in here write messages, I see. So everybody seems to be very impressed and moved by how kind you've been to them.
There are people who tell us that they just got back from visiting all 88 temples. They come in here looking exhausted.
Oh, so when they come in here, they've already been all the way round and they come back to the starting point.
Yes, and we enjoy seeing them too.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. And now let's take a look at the spirit of hospitality in practice.
In Shikoku, there is a custom of offering gifts of food and money to strangers on the pilgrimage. Hospitality takes other forms too, providing a place to rest along the road, or mowing grass along mountain trails. This too is considered hospitality. Some kind souls even offer pilgrims a place to stay for the night. There is a place like that in the city of Niihama in Ehime Prefecture, between temples 64 and 65. It's called Hagyuan, a place where weary pilgrims can rest and even stay the night for free. There are about 30 such free lodgings along the pilgrimage route. This one is run by Yoshiko Takahashi. In 2003, Takahashi renovated the garage of her home into a lodging for pilgrims.
The pilgrimage isn't something you should rush. Take your time and look around as you walk the route. It'll serve you well the next time you come around.
Takahashi offers a hot meal and a place to sleep to pilgrims tired from their journey.
You two eat these.
The people of Shikoku believe that by helping pilgrims, they can make merit for themselves. Takahashi lost her youngest son. After he died, she and her husband opened the pilgrim's lodging in his memory. Just a year later, her husband died too. Since then, Takahashi has kept the lodging going on her own. A pilgrim stops by one day.
Excuse me.
Your first time?
Yes, my first.
You look like a strong young man.
This heat is exhausting, though.
Please rest here then.
Thank you very much.
Will you stay the night? No?
Takuya Kubo is a 21-year-old from Hiroshima. He's decided to stay the night here. Takahashi enlists his help in preparing the meal.
I'd like to run a pub someday, in the future.
Run a pub? That's neat. Don't burn yourself.
For Takahashi, preparing a meal is rarely this lively. She invites her neighbors, and they all enjoy dinner together with their guest. For one night, Kubo has become like a grandson to Takahashi.
Thanks for your help.
The next morning, the time has come to see the pilgrim off.
It's hot out there. Are you off now? Good luck then.
Thank you very much.
Call me when you've completed the pilgrimage.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Takahashi treasures each unique and irreplaceable encounter with a pilgrim. Making meaningful connections and embracing the spirit of hospitality. For 1,000 years, the people of Shikoku have tended to the needs of their pilgrims with kindness in their hearts.
When you live in Japan, you often hear mention of the 88-temple Shikoku Pilgrimage, but quite honestly, I wasn't really aware how much tradition was involved in it, or for that matter, how many people take part in it. There's a fair amount of stress involved in living in modern urban Japan, so I kind of understand what would drive someone to want to take off on a pilgrimage. Walking along in the footsteps of Kukai, experiencing the kindness of the local people has to give you a renewed sense of humility and appreciation for your surroundings. I'll see you again next time.
In Japan, a festival of regional fast food is a special occasion and a huge event. We see how Japan's unique nature and culture have nurtured an amazing range of food experiences.